Hello and welcome back to another edition of the Nathan Up podcast. We'd like to be joined by Chris Bush, former Ebbsfleet United defender, now playing for Bromley, former Chelmsford, started his career at Brentford. So Chris, how you doing?
I'm good, thank you. How are you? How are you both doing today?
Not too bad.
Well.
How have you been coping during lockdown?
It's been a bit mixed. I've had some good days and some bad days. Missing football, as most of everyone is, I guess. But yeah, I've got my daughter with me, but that's been very challenging. So I've been occupied, which is nice. But just want to get back now, sort of thing.
We ask all of our guests this question, and it gets mixed answers. So, how did you get into football?
I've got two older brothers, and yeah, that's just what we did as kids. It was a bit of everything, really. All sports. Any chance we could get to go to the parks, in school, on the streets, you just get a ball, play around, and that was it, really. And then I never really kind of took it serious till I was later than probably most. It was probably about 15, 16, I started taking it quite seriously. And then went through a few different football schemes, and then Brentford picked me up, and that's kind of where I started my career from. But just wanted to enjoy it more than anything as a kid. It was all about enjoying playing football, playing with my mates, my brothers, and yeah, just from as young as 2, 3, I can remember playing football.
What was it like? Was you playing for Brentford when you signed for them, sort of 16, as you say?
It was different. It was a different environment. It's probably a lot different to what it is now, with them being a championship club. They just got promoted out of League Two when I signed, and so they were still kind of on the up and coming, and still quite average facilities for that time. But it was good. It was a good little learning curve for me to be around, experience, being around a professional atmosphere, which kind of guided my career path, really. And then just wanted to be playing men's football for as long as I could. And then once I got the taste of it, and then that was it. I couldn't stop.
And while you was at Brentford, you went on quite a few loans to Salisbury, Woking, Wimbledon, Thurrock. What did you learn from these loans?
To win. And it sounds silly, but it was the most important thing. You going into a changing room as a 16, 17-year-old, kind of just wanting to play more than anything. And then you get into a situation where it's all about winning, no matter how well you play, or no matter how good the team plays, or individually. It was important that you won the game, because there was things on the line, like it is for a lot of us now. And it's a game of fine margins, but you had to always come out on top, because losing isn't always pretty, and it can sort of lead you in a bad direction. So yeah, winning was the most important thing, and that was what I learned very early on, and it helped me a lot.
Which one of those loans was the best?
Probably the Wimbledon loan. That was probably the most eye-opening. I kind of went into a situation where I was at Salisbury and Woking prior to that. We didn't really get the fan base like Wimbledon had produced, and where Wimbledon was at the time. They were going for the league, so it was all about winning and going into that atmosphere with the players that was there, the fan base behind the club, what they wanted to achieve, and the history of the club really had to make me grow up fast, and had to make me realise that it's not about yourself, it's about other people. And it's very cliche, but it's about the team you're playing for, and not so much about your own name. You're representing someone, so make sure you always do the club and the fan base proud.
And then you signed for Wimbledon, actually, despite being offered a deal at Brentford. Why did you choose to go to Wimbledon?
A bit like what I was saying really earlier, it was just about playing men's football, and they gave me the opportunity. They said, you're going to come in, you're going to be a part of the first team squad, and I didn't have them guarantees when I was at Brentford. So I made that decision to go in. Looking back, hindsight, maybe it might have not been the right decision, but I was happy with the decision I made at the time, and I wanted to go and challenge myself and play men's football. And obviously they just got promoted, and it was in the league, so I wanted to test myself at it, and maybe it was a bit too soon or whatnot, but I was happy with the decision, and I feel like it was the right decision. Personally, I wanted to be around like the winning and the atmosphere and that sort of change room, and not sort of being that development on the 23s squad. But I was happy. Yeah, no, it was a good decision.
What was it like obviously playing that year? Obviously, Wimbledon just got promoted into League Two. What was it like, obviously, your first season in playing a lot of football in League Two?
It was a little bit surreal. I was in and out of the team quite a lot during the year. It was nice to be a part of it though, but it was just a real experience. It will give you a taste of what the league football is all about. And I didn't really get as much of a taste as I wanted to when I was at Brentford. So Wimbledon gave me that chance, and playing against better opposition than what you're used to, being more organised teams. It was really, you had to learn quickly. And it was one of the ones you learned quickly on the job or you got found out. So I had some tough games, but also I had some good games where I proved myself, and like to think that I could have lasted at that level, but obviously things happen and we move on. But no, it was a really good year, and it kind of helped me. It shaped me to be the player I am today, I say.
And then you moved to Gateshead. Was it difficult to move so far away?
No, looking back, I think it was an easier decision because it was an easy decision. Sorry, because I didn't really have much here. Still, like at home, I had obviously my family and stuff, but there wasn't really. I had that many ties back here, so making that decision to go up to Gateshead was kind of a real strong mental decision, because obviously you're leaving your home and you're leaving your base and your friends and your family, and then just moving to a completely different part of England. It was different, but that also, again, I feel like shaped me in my career, made me see things from a different perspective, and made me appreciate things a little bit more.
You done well for sort of, Gateshead for like your first half, and then sort of the end, you got loaned out a few times. Was it a bit annoying to be? Obviously, you were going there to play first team football. It was a bit annoying to be loaned out near the end of that season.
Yeah, it was, and that was a frustrating time. Obviously, you can imagine being away from home, and then all you want to do is really kind of play, and then you're not really given that opportunity. So that was always difficult. But I found ways to get by, and then I had the loans at Lincoln and Hereford, both successful loans and in their own right. But I made it work, and there were some good lads up there. We had a really good team, a lot of friendly people, which made it really nice. And obviously, using my experience up in that bar, the people that was there at the time, they made it a lot easier. And there were some people that was in the same situation as me, so we weren't too kind of left out. And we got by, but it was tough, and especially when the main thing you wanted to do was just play football. And we're not being able to do that. It takes its toll.
And yeah, you did well with Hereford. You managed to stay up, but then you were kicked out of the league. Was that tough?
Yeah, that was. You can imagine, obviously, the things that go on in football clubs with money and situations like that. But that was a difficult, very, very difficult time. I guess it was probably in an earlier age of social media. You couldn't really have the ins and outs. So there was a lot of things that weren't really produced to the public at the time. And still to this day, that I couldn't tell you what really happened. But in terms of just, again, being away from home, like not really getting paid on time, not really getting all your money on time, and then most of all, you're really trying to fight to stay in the league, and you're in a relegation battle. It's tough, it's testing, and it builds character. Again, same situation. The people that I played with there, I made friends for life, because we was all in the same situation, living away from home, not having really money coming in, and then in a relegation battle, it takes its toll, and as you may know. So it was nice being with some good friends there, but it shapes you. It makes you realise the finer things, and it makes you also just don't take things for granted, because sometimes it's not in your hands that you can affect. So it was tough, but again, everything that we'll go through is just only helped me shape me to be the player I am now.
And you moved back down south. Was it good to go back down south with Welling, who had sort of Jamie Day at the time, I think? Yeah, it was nice. Again, it was a bit more of a football choice, just to play football, be a part of a team, give it a right go. And Daisy, very, very good manager, very good coach. Bit young at the time, but we made it work, and
it was good to be home and play football again. I hadn't really experienced that properly, so it was nice to just be at home and have home comforts whilst I was playing. So yeah, it was nice to be back. Good to be around some of the players that were there, and Daisy really took the control. And I know he came to Ebbsfleet after, so it was a bit of an unfinished business sort of season. But yeah, all in all, it was a good season. It stayed up again, another relegation battle, but yeah, it builds character and it makes you appreciate the finer things.
As you said, Welling just stayed up that year. Was it a relief to stay up on the final day of the season? I believe it was.
Yeah. It's tough because you always try to be optimistic going into the season, and I think we done quite well probably up until November, and I think we sold Harry Buteman to Peterborough. I think he had like 10 in maybe like 15 games or something like that, something ridiculous from midfield. And then we didn't really bring it, not so much we didn't bring him, but we tried and tested many methods, just couldn't find the right fit, the formula. Then obviously Daisy had his opportunity, went to Ebbsfleet, had Jody Brown come in, and then again it was a conveyor belt of players coming in and out, and it was tough trying to find consistency, trying to find partnerships, and it was tough to go just to play games knowing that it was always going to be a battle regardless, and the opposition knew that they probably thought they was going to win. So that was a tough season, but like you said, the relief of staying up on the final day, it really makes the whole season's hard work go into perspective, and it makes you realise, like, okay, like, good, we completed what we had to achieve this year, not what we set out for, but what we had to achieve. And in as much as like promotions and stuff like that were really good on the CV, keeping the team up, I like to think, especially as a defender, you like to feel like you've done your job. So yeah, it was a really, really good season. Unlucky to be in a position, but yeah, good to stay out, definitely.
You then left Welling and signed for Lincoln, who of course are a big club. Did you feel that sort of the pressure of sort of the fan base, you know, to get back into the Football League, obviously, because they had a few sort of mid-table finishes, similar to sort of like Wrexham, if you see what I mean?
Yeah. There was an expectancy, but I feel like they didn't have the belief. The situation they was in, it was probably different to the one, obviously, when the Cowleys took over. It was in and out of different people, trying to find the right personnel, still in a position of being a big club in the league, and then just adapting to the National League. So they was really at an indifferent point. So when I went in there, we wanted to obviously try and achieve and be top half finish and stuff like that. But I just didn't feel like we had the right mix, and we just didn't have the right sense of direction, I think. And it was tough because obviously the fans really want you to do well, but they're very passionate fans. They're only town fans. They're the only team in their area, biggest city. So they really got behind us when they wanted to. But when obviously things weren't going well, like most fans, but like some fans do, they just don't want to come and watch. So yeah, we found it tough. We should have done better with the squad that we had. But there was loads of little things that just didn't really click. So it was an unfortunate season, but it was a really nice opportunity to play for them. And I was happy there. And then obviously the situation came to an end, but very good club, and it deserves to be where it is now. I think they're really big, back to where they belong.
And then you dropped down a division and went to Chelmsford. Why did you choose to go to Chelmsford?
That was another difficult period. I think I come at the end of Lincoln, I come to realise maybe I wasn't quite enjoying it as much as I probably did as a kid or when I was younger. And I was living away from home again, and it didn't feel right. And I wanted to just go back to enjoying it again, and go back to just playing football and just having fun and being around people that you know, and just try to really find the love of the game. I guess I think I kind of lost it a little bit at Lincoln, but so when the opportunity come to go to Chelmsford, it was a tough one to take, because obviously you've been in the National League, you didn't want to drop down and performance-wise, but sometimes you just have to realise what the situation was, and I did, and I was happy with it. I didn't really have too much interest coming out of that summer, but then when Chelmsford called me, I spoke to the manager and I knew a few of the boys that were there, and I thought, yeah, look, we can give it a go and just see where we go. And I went, and surprisingly enough, it was better than what I imagined. Coming from obviously a upper league, higher league, full time to part time, it was different. But we did things properly, and it was a good setup over there, and we done well, and we had a great set of lads, and obviously we got to the final. Yeah, no, it was really good to be there. And again, every club I've been at always teaches you a few things, but I'd like to think that Chelmsford taught me a lot more than some, just purely on the basis because I got to enjoy it, but we was winning, and that was the first time I really experienced winning. Being in a winning team and enjoying football really does want you to achieve things. So it was really good to be there, yeah.
Obviously, we've got to talk about those playoffs. You beat, was it Dartford?
Dartford.
And then obviously you went into the final, no offence to Chelmsford, but you were obviously the underdogs. What was that final like?
From our perspective, it was a weird one. I think we split the season. We beat you at our Chelmsford's ground, and we lost to you on the very icy day, if I can remember. It was a very icy day at your gaff. Lost 1-0, I think, or 2-0.
Yeah, I think it was 2-0.
So we kind of was confident. We kind of obviously went into the Dartford game a bit on the back foot work techniques, but we come out victorious, which was good. And I feel like we had the squad and the players to definitely give you a game. Obviously, we knew what Ebbsfleet brought at the time, and we knew it was always going to be a tough ask. And I think it was your third time. Was it the third? Yeah, third time.
Third final we've got to, yeah.
So we knew there was a lot of pressure on you. So it was more so for us just to go out and just play well. And that's whatever happens at the end of the day, you take it on the chin. But obviously to go 1-0 up and Cookie get sent off just before the half, it was kind of, you start feeling it a little bit. There's a little incentive in you that really goes, like maybe this is our day. And it wasn't to be, but it was all in all, it's bittersweet because obviously I came to Ebbsfleet after, but just in terms of being at Chelmsford in the final, we was unfortunate. And I feel like if we would have given it another go before I stayed at Chelmsford the next year, we definitely would have got promoted. But I felt like we probably wasn't ready to get promoted. I think Ebbsfleet was better suited to get promoted at the time. But it was a great day out, and all in all, it was a great season. And that was the first time I really experienced winning. I didn't really experience winning, like you said. Like most of my games, or most of my teams I played for, it was all relegation battles. So the first time I got to the playoff final, like you just want to experience and you just want a good day out. So losing in the playoff final, you take that over staying up on the last day of the season. So it's a real bittersweet moment. But yeah, it was a good year to be at Chelmsford then.
Obviously, we spoke to Daryl and Keds about their own stories of obviously going 1-0 down, and Daryl said that Cookie was crying in the changing room. What was it like for obviously we've heard the Ebbsfleet side of the story. What was it like? Obviously, we went 1-0 up, and what was it like obviously being in the changing room at half time? Obviously, Cookie just been sent off as well.
Yeah, I feel like there was something in the air. It wasn't so much nervousness or excitement. It was a mixture of both. It was like, we can do this, but we know that Ebbsfleet were very well equipped, like in terms of team, and we know that they had players to bring on. So we kind of was really optimistic about it. We knew that if we just kind of stuck to the game plan and stuck what we're doing, because we was playing a 3-4-3, and the way we played it really suited the players that we had. So as long as we stuck with it, I feel like we had another chance just early second half to go 2-0 maybe. But I can't remember if we missed it or not. I know we missed it, but I can't remember what had happened. But yeah, it was very optimistic. I think we, as players, you just kind of rise to the occasion. So you go 1-0 up against 10 men in the final, you just expect it. And then I feel like the management had a bit of a nervousness, not so much nervousness, but a reserve feeling, because they kind of just wanted to make sure that we stuck with what the game plan was. But yeah, it was. But even at 1-1, I'd say honestly, even at 1-1, I still felt like we had it. Didn't expect you to come and do what you did, but yeah, it was a tough day ultimately. But half time definitely we felt like we had it, and we felt like we could have gone on to win it. But looking back now, it probably was the better decision out of the two.
Mm. And then you signed for Ebbsfleet in the summer. What did Darryl sort of say to you? What did he want from that season?
It was a weird one because obviously I just lost to Yara in the final, and we probably had like 5-6 games, and he gave me a call when we spoke, and it was, we've got some injuries and want you to be a part of the team. And but like when I looked at the squad, you had a fairly decent sized squad, and you had players from all positions, so I kind of knew I was coming in. There was going to be a lot of fighting for places, which I was happy to do. But again, it was kind of giving me the chance to go in and play. I knew I was going to play the first couple of games and test myself back at that level after a successful season. So I kind of was excited, and it wasn't so much there was an expectancy to come out of the season. It was more so, come on, let's just give it a go and see where we end up. And obviously you just get promoted, and they was on the high from getting promoted, whereas I was on the kind of the low of losing in the final. So I kind of come in and just done my job and played my part, which helped the team. And then it was a successful season ultimately at the end of it. But it wasn't so much as we need to go out and get promoted or make the playoffs. It was more so just go out and just play and see where we end up, and we'll give it a go after Christmas. So yeah, that was it really.
Obviously, Fleet made it into the playoffs. What did you make of that sort of that spell where we were sort of March to April, we were just banging wins all the time, and obviously making it into the playoffs? What was that like?
It was, when you look back, you don't really think of it. You never really thought about it in the moment. I guess I think we was going into games regardless of what was going on, and just kind of just putting performances together, and we was just playing and just winning and scoring, and it kind of rolled on to the end of the season, and we had that buzz. But yeah, it was, you just live in the moment. Like in training, it was just really intense and sharp, and everyone was playing training really hard and really well, and there was so much competition for places, and everyone knew they had to be on it, which kind of up to people's levels again, which kind of got to the position we was in. So yeah, it was really good to really just, you speak to anyone that's been in winning teams, that period where you go maybe unbeaten or draw a couple games, but you're just winning no matter how well you play. You can't explain that, and you can't teach that. It just happens, and only the players can really figure it out. So it was really nice. And then obviously to go on into the playoffs, it was better than, for me, it was better than the year before, because you're in the league above, so you kind of lost last year in the playoffs, but you think you can win it because obviously we've won it. They've won it last year. That makes sense. So no, it was good to really give it a go.
And then the season after that, you had a great season, and I certainly, I think Nathan will agree with me. I think you deserved to get Player of the Season that season.
Thank you.
Why do you think you performed so well that season?
Obviously with the things that happened, Darryl obviously leaving, and the reduction of the squad kind of to a bare, not so much a bare minimum, but a bare 15, 16. Kind of, you get the confidence that you know you're always going to play. And I think Gary gave, to be fair to him, he gave me that. He just said, look, you're going to play regardless, because that's all we had. I don't think we had many fit players at the time. I think that was one of the reasons why we went to playing 3 at the back, because we didn't really have the squad capable to rotate. So it was it was a different responsibility. We kind of just come in and played, and you knew you was going to play, and you kind of knew who was playing, so you just start bonding familiarities with people. And it was good. It was really nice, actually. It really helped me in my career, because I kind of come out my shell a little bit from being a youngster or being a bit part player. I kind of made myself one of the first names on the team sheet, not to be big-headed or anything, but I've really made me just step up and be accounted for. It was a bit like the Chelmsford season, where when I was there, I started every week, I got made captain. And again, not to sound big-headed, but it gives you the realisation and the pressure. Not so much pressure, but the spotlight's on you, and you have to be held accountable for. And I quite enjoyed it. And then the second season at Ebbsfleet, I really took it again because, again, league above, so it's a bit more high profile to say, but you have to be taken accountable for. And obviously, if people are going to talk about the team, and obviously now everyone does reviews on teams and you get player analysis and stuff, you don't want to really be the one that they call the weak link out of the team. You want to be make sure that it's going to be a difficult day who you play against. So yeah, it was really it was good from Gary Hill to give me that kind of the playing time, and then I just built the confidence up. And when you're playing with people and you're doing things, not being big-headed again, but like scoring goals or just being a very good and very integral part of the team, it really builds your confidence and character.
Obviously, you mentioned scoring goals. Obviously, we've got to talk about those free kicks. I remember you started. I think you were stepping up against Halifax, and I was thinking, why is our left back taking this free kick? And he banged. It was like that was probably one of your best ones. Just like that sort of, the dip you got on it, and then the Leyton Orient one was just. I think that's one of our moments of the season. That free kick, and when we beat Leyton Orient, and then obviously as a centre back, left back, when did you start taking free kicks? And obviously,
it's just something that I've always done. I know it sounds silly, but like me and my mates, we'd go over the park and we'd just 20. It sounds weird, but I come up in we come up in a Beck's generation. And you see Beck's taking free. That's all you wanted to. You go in your garden, you practice, and that's all we did. So all my mates, we just go over the park, practice free kicks, and ever since, and you just keep doing. And then in training, I'll just be there messing about. And then when it started to get serious, I started doing it a bit more. And certain games, I feel like I could. I feel like I had. Did I score? I think I scored two for Chelmsford. I think one in pre-season and one in the first game of the season, a free kick. So you start not so much building a reputation, but people start saying, "Yeah, well, let Chris have a go," or whatever may be the case. And the first year, we had some good free kick takers. We had Paoli and Keds, obviously, they like the free kicks. And the problem is with free kicks, you have to get them in the right area. Otherwise, you don't really get to show. So we was fortunate enough that we got some free kicks in some right areas the second year. And yeah, it's just a confidence thing. I feel like if you know, and then just step up, and the rest is hopefully you like to think you're going to score 9 times out of 10. But yeah, it's the Leyton Orient one. Like you said, I think the Halifax one was a better free kick in general because of how it was taken and how close it was to the goal. But the Orient run, in terms of the game, like to go 2-0 up, who it was, what they were doing, our situation, it kind of, and that's probably one of the only proper goals I've celebrated. So yeah, it was really nice to score that, definitely.
And then the season after, you signed for Bromley. Obviously, there was quite a few Ebbsfleet lads that have been there, like Coulson, and I think Winfield came in. Whiteley came in during the season. Cheek was there. How was it to be with them as well?
It was nice. It was refreshing. I think when you go into a new team, you don't always want to go in not so much know anyone or know of someone. You kind of want to know someone that you've played with, so you can get a feel and you kind of get an idea about how things are. So it was nice. Obviously, initially going in, being Coulson there, and obviously Cheeky was there as well. So that made it really good, and it made and obviously we're all mates as well outside. I like to think we're mates outside football, so it was nice to really have a connection and just bide your way into the team and get a feel for it and just kind of see what's going on, how the change room is. And I think that's the biggest thing when you come in as a new player. You don't really want to disrupt the change room. You really want to just continue making it grow and continue making it a tight-knit team, because that's what's important to winning, being a tight-knit team. And that was one of the main things I wanted to do, just come in and just help. So much help in a way, but more so just fit in and not take over roles and responsibilities, as they say.
What have you made of this season? Because obviously you had a really good year. For the first few months, you were top of the league. You beat Bristol Rovers, which you scored in the FA Cup. And I thought, looking at the side, Cheeky, you, Coulson, I thought, you could push easily for the playoffs here. And then it sort of derailed. You lost a few players that were recalled. Was it disappointing, to think, we've got something here, and then obviously losing some players, injuries, and then to start falling down the league again?
Yeah, it was it was disappointing. But again, it's another learning curve in your football education. I think this was my first year where we really attacked it really well. We started really well when we was up there, and then kind of fell off. I think most of the time we've been a late surge, but it was you try to find the answers, and it's difficult to digest how. When looking back now, like obviously you do things. Me as a player, I do things differently in some games, which may have affected the outcome. But to start off the way we did was you build confidence, and then it's the whole, we're going to be there or abouts at the end of the year. We want to go on to win it. We can do something for Bromley's history anyway. You can achieve something that's never been achieved before. So it was important to see. It was a very great start to this, like you said, start of the first half of the season, and then to obviously go on the downward spiral that we did. You're always optimistic and thinking that the next game will be the one that you pick it up or turn it around. And it sounds funny, but the last game we played was Harrogate on the telly, 1-1 draw, and I felt like that was probably the game that was going to turn us around. And then we had we had Chorley the week after. And that was really at home, and that was really the one that we felt like we was going to really bounce back, because you could see how tight it was towards the end of the season, and everyone really was in with a chance. And you just wanted to give it a right go. And I think maybe for our sake, for Bromley's season, it's probably good that it's now gone to an end, and then we can, look back over the season and then just help alter things to make a better season next year. So disappointed to see it tail off, but it's refreshing to see how we started and what we can possibly improve on and where we can end up finishing.
And one game I'm sure you was expecting to talk about was the Yeovil away game, where Mark Cousins obviously got injured, and you stepped up in goal. Why did you step up in goal?
Honestly, I just felt if someone's going to do it, I might as well be me. I think I went in goal once before in a proper game. That was for Welling against Dover. Our keeper got sent off, but that was only with 5 minutes to go. So that was only really nothing. I had one thing to do, pick the ball out of the net, and that was that. And then just from then on, kind of just, again, it felt like responsibility, being not so much a senior player, but being coming up with a bit of pedigree from Ebbsfleet after having a good season into Bromley. That's what they wanted me to replicate. They wanted me to just be a professional in what I do. And I felt like me going in goal probably helped it was helping the balance of who we could bring on. But I enjoyed it. Yeah, it was brilliant. It was funny. It's very, very different. Very, very different as being a goalkeeper. But it was a really good day. Unfortunate to lose, and obviously what happened to Mark. But for me, on a personal level, it was funny, and it was nice it's nice to pop a ticket off your list. So it was a good day out for me. But obviously with Mark and the game. But yeah, definitely something I'd do again. I wouldn't say no to it. But I don't know if I could be a keeper. That's a different story. So no, I don't know if I could do that. But no, it was good and funny. Definitely funny.
Looking back at your career, you kind of spent sort of obviously a lot of your 1 year spells at clubs. Do you ever look back and think, would it be a bit better to spend sort of 2-3 years? It was just not an option for you. Was it just a bit annoying you couldn't play longer at clubs? A
bit of both. I always wanted to, as a player, you don't really want to be seen as the person that goes from club to club to club after every year. Sometimes that can be viewed negatively, sometimes maybe positively. It depends on who's looking at it. But ultimately, sometimes it was taken out of my hands, which was upsetting, because you find attachment to clubs, and you start to grow connections. You start to grow friendly with people that you see often, like yourselves and people around the place. So you always want to stick around. Sometimes when it's taken out your hand, it's unfortunate, but looking back, and you can only really use everything and analyze everything looking back. It was probably good decisions that I made at the time, going from club to club to club. But it was, you learn things, and you learn fast on the job there. But yeah, again, I feel like it's no surprise that when I got the 2 years at Ebbsfleet, I kind of grew into myself in the second year. And I like to think maybe this will happen a bit more at Bromley, or maybe grow even more. But it's no surprise when you keep people for longer, and not so much get their feet under the table, but they feel comfortable in their environment they're working in, that they produce better work, if that makes sense. So yeah, it was tough, but it was a very big learning curve, and it makes you appreciate when you do get longer term contracts, or when you do spend longer at clubs, it makes you really appreciate that as well, definitely.
And you've obviously played centre half and left back. What position do you prefer?
Centre back, without. That's probably one of the most asked questions I get, and it is definitely centre half. I like playing left. I think the freedom that comes with playing left back and getting forward and just being a bit more adventurous and attacking does appeal, but just there's nothing beats playing centrally in the mid, at the back, and just having everything in front of you and being able to control it to a certain degree. That's how I started playing football, and that's why I enjoy playing football, just being in that position. So I definitely would be a centre half if spoken about. Yeah.
Obviously, we don't know what's going to happen with coronavirus when the next season's going to start, but are your plans to stay at Bromley? Obviously, Luke Colson said that the club looks like it's going to build, and the stadium and the manager. Do you think that can happen at Bromley?
Yeah, especially being there for the first this year and seeing the activity that goes on. I think that's it. And not to be disrespectful or anything, but when you go into a workplace environment, sometimes they may tell you that we're going to do this and we're going to do that and we're going to build this and we're going to build that. It's all well good and saying it to you, but it's only when you see it happening on a daily basis and you're actively seeing the people who are supposed to be doing the work actually doing the work. It really makes it something to be a part of, and I really think that helped us at the start of the season. It really helped us, like the feel about the place really got us going and gave us that head start. So I got another year at Bromley, so I'll be staying there definitely. And just seeing where the club can go, you want to be a part of things like that. You want to build with like the club, and you want to be a part of that, and so that you know that ultimately when it comes to the end of your career, you're looking back and you know that I was a loyal servant to Bromley, and they served and they looked after you. So yeah, definitely I want to look back, and yeah, it's going to be a good season, definitely, I feel, for Bromley anyway. And for the way they want to go, it can only get better.
You're only mid-20s or so. Well, you start to think about sort of plans after football? Is it something too early?
I should start thinking about it. I haven't. I'm not going to lie to you. I definitely haven't. But it's definitely something I'll look into. It's just, again, finding your niche. And when you've only ever known something for so long, it's hard to really let go of it or think about letting go of it, especially when you might not want to stay in it if you can't play in it, if that makes sense. So it's finding other alternatives. But yeah, like you said, I'm mid-20s. I've got time. I should be all right.
Do you want to go for your best 11?
Yes. I'm stuck on one player, but I'll get to that point in a bit. But in goal, I've gone with Ash. I'm not surprised. I don't think many people wouldn't have Ash. Great keeper, great lad, funny guy. It speaks for himself, I guess, Ash. So he's in goal. My left back, this is a tough one because I play left back, but a lot of games, so it's very hard to pick someone. But I went with JC, Jack Connors. Obviously, I played with him at Ebbsfleet. Great defender, brilliant player, very very smart player as well, and should be playing a lot higher, definitely. Centre halves, I went with a lad I played with this year at Bromley, but unfortunately he's had to retire. Mark Okoye and Nicky Spillane, who I played with at Chelmsford. Both what I class myself as a centre half, someone who can really, if he has to get down and slide tackle and win headers and stuff like that, he can do it. But also, if you want to play out from the back, they're the guys who want to get on the ball and make passes, can step in and stuff like that. So them two, definitely one of the two best centre halves I've played with. Right back, I went with Sam Hatton. I played with him at Wimbledon, again, similar to JC, very, very tough defender, but also a very good footballer and very smart. And that back four for me, personally, is a very all-rounded back four who can do a bit of everything well. My midfield, I went with Pauli. Speaks for himself, I think his quality is second to none, and consistency is there as well. And I just really find that, again, similar to me, just needs to find his feet. And once he gets his feet under a table, he can really kick on. Then in front of him, I went for a 4-3-3. In front of him, I went with Sam Clucas and John Nolan. I played with Clucas at Hereford and John Nolan at Lincoln, and two players who you could just see had unbelievable quality, and it was very natural for them and very easy for them, and they just excelled. You could see there were levels above it, and they was always going to kick on. And they both had, to be fair, and they're both doing really well. Both having great careers. So two lads that I think are unbelievable players, two good lads as well. My right wing forward, I went with Jared Bowen, who I played with at Hereford, but's at West Ham now. Just got to move to West Ham in January. Unbelievable player. I played with him when he was 16, 17, and you could see then he had something about him, just something that you want, that raw talent, you want that edge when you see young players play, and he definitely had it, and he had the poise of a 30-year-old. He was just never really feared, never really uncomfortable. When at 16, mixing it with the big boys in the National League, you can tell he was always going to go on to do something, definitely. It's tough. I need to be left winger. But up front, I went with Aaron McLean. I know he kind of was at the end of his career when I played with him, but I was a schoolboy at Peterborough when I was maybe 15. And I used to see him train for about 6 months, and he was just, the professionalism that he brings is what you want from players. The way he trains hard every day, and there's always a goal to be scored. Defending, when he has to do his defending, he does it, and it's always a competition with him, which you want, and you can't buy that sometimes. And he was a great mentor for me as well. So I've got a lot of time for Aaron, but he goes up front. And then my left winger, only because I'm being fair, but I'd put Luke Coulson in, actually. When we was at Ebbsfleet together, he kind of, again, similar situation, he kind of was under a little bit in his shell, didn't really get his freedom, didn't really get his opportunity to really expand his game. But then coming to Bromley and seeing what he can do and seeing him flourish, he's really excelled. And as a good friend of his, I'm proud to see it, because obviously I know the struggles he had at Ebbsfleet. So coming into Bromley and being better and being more, just having the impact on games that he does now, really, it's really nice to see, actually. So I'd put him in as well. But yeah, that would be my 11.
Who would you have managing that team?
It's very silly, but I'd probably have Daisy, just because of the relaxed nature that he brings, and the coaching and the freedom he gives you to just go and play, and how it's the same message every week. Don't be afraid, get on the ball, pass, move, do the basics, and then the rest will follow. He'd probably who I would have as my coach, just purely on the basis of the freedom that he gave everyone to play, and the confidence he gives to people was really nice to see, especially all the young lads that he had brought in at the time. But I feel like he can do very well with whoever. Just it's the confidence that he brings, definitely.
Final question before you go: what is the best moment in your career so far?
Oh, best moment. I haven't had too many great moments. Losing in playoff final, you know about that one. Probably scoring the equalizer at Bristol Rovers. That was actually quite nice. Again, it's a very unselfish reason why, but just for the fans and the club, really, and the day out, and what they got from it, and I know we got the replay on telly and we came a bit close, but just in all, like the day out and it was a really nice day, and to share it with the boys. You worked hard for it, and the circumstances we was under, and just being able to get the equalizer was really nice, actually. And it was really humbling feeling to put things into perspective. So that probably be one of my best moment of my career so far. I haven't got too many. I'm still trying to tick off them lists. I need some promotions, boys. So hopefully, a few years I'll be able to say better stories.
Obviously, all the best, Chris. Hopefully, you get those promotions that you want.
Thank you.
And
No,
all
I
the best
appreciate that. Thank you very much, boys. Take it easy and good luck, and speak to you soon.
All right, cheers, Chris. Thank
See you later.